Hello everybody, Kirk here with Space Pickle Designs, and today I have a necklace blitz. It's not really a blitz, it's kind of like a pair, a duo, so to speak. And these are two beginner-friendly, easy statement necklaces using this month's last month's bargain bead box because it is now April. And so this is in key lime pie. I've used some of the remainder of my beads after making 4 pair of earrings, 3 large bracelets, and now I have these 2 necklaces to go along with it. So if you'd like to see how these were made, then just keep on watching. And also, if you'd like more content from me in the form of 4 extra tutorials a month, go ahead and check my Patreon down in the description box. All right, without further ado, let's get into it. All right, so here is the necklace that we are going to make. Kind of laid it out for you. What I did was I took the remainder of my chain that I had quite a bit left, and I made 8 5-chain links. So I put those here, and then this one is an 11-chain link. And so let's go ahead and put our pendant on our link of chain. I'm just going to take a really small jump ring for this. I really like these tiny ones for detail work like this. So I'm just going to make this component now. We'll zoom you in a little bit. Scoot this over. And so the reason I did 11 is so that we can have an actual center point. And the way that I like to find my center point, sometimes I will just take a scrap piece of Sawflex or a piece of wire. I have Sawflex here. And I put both of the ends on there, and then you see the link that is solo right down in the middle. That is your mid. So I want to take my little 4mm jump ring. I'm going to put this on, and then find my middle link, and then feed that on to my middle link. All right, so when we hold our little piece here, there is a definite middle, and it'll make our necklace a little more stable. And by stable, I mean like your pendant is definitely going to be on the midpoint and not bouncing back and forth kind of like that. So we can put him off to the side. What we're going to do now, and I'm going to zoom you out a little bit, I've already kind of set up the necklace how I want it, and I want it to be asymmetrical. And I'm bringing 2 types of beads. So I'm bringing the crackle, and then I'm bringing in, I believe this is a gemstone, probably a dyed gemstone. And I brought both of those in because there's both of those tones in the pendant. And so for all of this is like a 6mm bead here, so I just want to put these on as is. So I'm making a little component with 3 of those. And I'm going to make really small loops. Like this. And I'm just working from the spool, and this is just a simple loop. If you want to do a wrap loop, then by all means do that. I just don't like doing wrap loops. Maybe I will get over that eventually. All right, so here's our simple loop component, and I do want my loops facing the same way. I'm going to put it exactly where I had it in my design, and I am going to do the rest of those real quick. So all right, so those components are done. Next, we have to take care of the crackle bead components. And what I'm going to do here is, since I still had some of those bead caps left, I am going to use bead caps for the crackle. And so I'm going to put a bead cap on, crackle, bead cap, and we're only using single beads for this one. I'm just doing a simple loop. Again, pretty small loop if possible. I did bring out my fine round nose pliers. And this one is a little hard for me to grab onto, so I'm going to use my pliers as leverage. All right, so we have our crackle bead components. I'm just gonna put that right back where it was. And I'll zoom in for you for one so we can see. I'm just squaring off the edge of my wire. Gonna put a bead cap, crackle bead, bead cap. Going to bend my wire. Simple loop, push my beads up over. I'm going to take this plier as leverage. So I just grab the bead just a little bit away from the bead cap and then bend over, just using it as leverage. And then I cut. And now I have my component. So I always just like to do that little piece at the end to show that my loops are facing the same way. So I'm going to do some YouTube magic, of course, and do the rest of these components. All right, so we did those components, and all we have to do now is put everything together. So let me find my pliers. And we're gonna start from the pendant, because why not? And I'm gonna lay it out kind of like this, and just take our components, open them up, and feed it on. I'm not going to use jump rings or anything like that. I don't need to waste them. So I put my first component on, and I'll zoom in a little bit. It's kind of hard to show with my camera set up here. And then I'm going to add a 5-link chain. So I'm just going to find the opening and add my 5 links. Now I have my next component. Now I gotta open up the other side and add my 5 links. I'm gonna grab my next component. Go to the other side of the component, open up. Add the 5 links, go to my next component. Open up, add it. And this will be a longer necklace, which I don't make very often. And take my last component on this side. And add that. So before I add my extender chain on the back side, what I'm going to do is repeat this process on the other side. And what I have here is a 3 3 1 3 1 on the side, and it's going to have chains in between, and the beads aren't going to line up exactly, which I kind of like, but we'll see how far off they are after I add these. All right, so our component is put together, and they are not far off from each other, not enough to where it would bother me. So I'm going to keep it this way. As you can tell, it's probably like a 1/4 inch off. I'm okay with that because I am going for that asymmetric look. Again, if you don't like that asymmetric look, definitely make these components how you like. This is just kind of like a design thing. And so what I have here is a longer piece of, I just split the difference between the remainder of chain. This is a 6-inch piece, just about. And so it's 6 inches on each side, and it looks like we'll have about a 20-inch necklace. At least, probably 20, 22. And so I'm just attaching the remainder of the chain on each side. Now this is an equal piece. So it will be just a slight mismatch in the back by a 1/4 inch. You can compensate for that if you want to, but that does not bother me. And I'm not going to sell this piece. It'll be a giveaway piece. And what I'm going to do now is attach the, I'm using a spring ring on this one. So this is my right side when I'm wearing it, which is the majority. I'm going to use that. Put that on, and then we have to find a larger loop. Let's not make this more difficult than it has to be. And I'm going to use probably an 8mm on the other side. So I have an 8mm. I gotta make sure that that is nice and secure. I just clamp down my pliers a little bit on it to make sure, because we definitely need a smaller area for it to go in the spring ring, but not, I need it to be together enough to where it's not going to release the chain on there. So that is a pretty delicate connection. You could double jump ring it if you want, but it would be a little bit more difficult to do that behind your neck. And so here is our finished piece. You guys, what do you think? Again, a longer necklace here, but I think she looks really, really nice. I love her. Okay, so we have another necklace here, another necklace idea. And what I'm gonna do is try to make a component out of these crystals. And I want to use 3 that dangle through here. So what I'm gonna try is some 20 gauge wire, and this is German style wire because I am gonna do a simple loop. And I'm gonna feed my beads on there. So 3 of these crystals. Okay, I'm gonna square this off. I'm gonna do my little head pin trick because I want like the smallest head pin possible, and I just slipped on the edge of that, so it actually malformed the wire a little bit. So I'm just taking that little bitty piece, and that should be enough to make this component. And so I'm just going to bend, and I'm gonna make a pretty sizable loop, nothing too crazy, but I do want it to be able to clear that and be able to swing. So we'll see what this looks like. So we have this, like I said, pretty sizable loop, and let's see if it fits. So I'm just gonna put it on this loop here, and it looks like it does. So the tricky part is going to be getting that closed, and here we go. So here is our little component with a little bit of a sparkly dangle in there, and that'll be our mid piece. And what I want to do now is see if this larger jump ring will go through there comfortably without making anything weird in there, which could do. And yeah, it does make it a little weird. So what we're gonna do, and weird, by weird I mean it's kind of suffocates it a little bit. And so let me see if I have smaller. That's about as small as I have. It's okay. We'll just do 2 jump rings because these are finer gauge, and these are an 8. I just want something that's not going to impede the dangle. Putting those on there. And so now we have our piece that we can string. So this is nothing crazy. I'm just gonna start in the middle here and feed our beads on just in this repeating pattern. This is the last of the sage beads that I have. And I'm just putting those brown crystals, the same ones that we used for the pendant, on each side. And this is actually a piece of scrap wire that I had from my bracelet Blitz. So definitely keep your scraps, because you'll never know when you need to use just like a little piece. And if you're wondering what this color is, it's bone. It's one of the more versatile colors. And so 2 more beads here. This is really all I had left of this color. I'm gonna bead bug one side right at the very end, and I'm going to do a magical crimp. All right, now I am going to leave a decent size loop on the end because I might want to do leather. I have to see what kind of stringing material that I have that I want to use for this piece. So I'm just going to do my magical crimper. Again, keep practicing, you guys. You got to kind of get to know your tool. For me in particular, if I go down about 80% of the way first, it seems to work a little bit better on that first go around. And here's our connection. So I'm just going to bring everything down. Still have a little bit of a bend in there, and look how much soft flex we still have left over. We could have made 2 of these probably with this amount, which is so awesome. And I am going to put this down through at least the crystal, and we'll see if we can get through that sage bead, which we can. Look at that, like butter. So I am going to curl this a little bit. All right, looks about right. Okay. I'm going to cut the excess, and this goes right back into my scrap. All right, so this is your necklace focal. Didn't take very long at all. I think it's very, very pretty, and all you have to do is use some chain. You could use the chain from the box. I don't have any left over, so I am going to have to pull from my own stash, and I'll see what I can find. All right, so I did find some Coriana chain or some beading chain. And if you've never used it before, it's pretty cool. I'm gonna probably take, let me get my measuring device. And for each side, this is going to be 2 inches. So I need, I would say, if we wanna do an 18-inch, we need 16 inches total, so 8 inches. That's not true. That's not true. I don't know how to do public math. I am going to take 7 inches per side. And I just measure them together, butt them against one another. And cut these pieces. Okay, I'll lay that out, clean this up. So now we have our 7-inch pieces, and what we have to do is attach them, and it looks like I will have to attach with these little baby jump rings, which is fine. If I had thought about it ahead of time, I wouldn't have to do this. I could just do it directly to the soft flex, but here we are. You know, we're not perfect. And so I have these crimp tubes. These are not my good soft flex crimps because we are just going to smash a crimp. So I put my crimp on first, and these are just so, it's a little rough on the eyes. I am so wrong. We put our clamshell on first. So we have our clamshell on. We have our crimp bead, and what we want to do is take our pliers and take our crimp bead all the way to the end and smash and smash. Okay, so that's what the end of our chain looks like. So when you bring it down into the clamshell, it stops it from pulling through, and then you just smash your clamshell together. Okay, so now you have that. You can also do the same thing on the other side. Again, we start with a clamshell. Put on a crimp bead. And crimp beads are the ones that are rounded. They're not those like Delica looking crimp tubes. Take that and you smash right at the end of that wire. You bring that down, close it. And if you're using your tool, just gently close it if you're using it on the bulb part, because it will make a mark. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing for the other one, and I will meet you back. Okay, so we have our 2 pieces of Coriana chain, and we're gonna just attach them with these tiny little itty bitty guys. And these are a 4mm jump ring. And I like those clamshells because they have a loop on either side of the clamshell. So when you close it, it is pretty secure. And so this, when I'm looking at it, this is the left side when I'm looking at it, but the right side when you're wearing it. So I will attach the toggle bar on this side. Squirrely little guy. And then we add our other end. Take our pliers, close that up really nice. And these little jump rings are pretty sturdy. All right, let's put our another jump ring on. And then on the other side, we will attach the toggle loop. Toggle ring. Okay, so here's our necklace, you guys. A dainty little guy, but I think looks really, really pretty. Let's zoom out. This is about an 18-inch necklace, which is my preferred length. And again, it's just a way to stretch your beads. We just had a little bit of these left, exactly 8 of the P beads. That's one of my favorite comments of the week. A commenter down below said that these look like peas and they can't unsee that, and I kind of agree, but I also kind of like it. So so like the overcooked English peas that you get at the cafeteria, here we go. And they're accented with those brown crystals. And so I think this is a very approachable, beginner-friendly project that we can use using mostly items from your box. Again, if you don't have the Coriana chain, just use the chain from your box if you really like this. And again, it adds just a little something with the dangle without it being too advanced, and we're all about having fun here on this channel. All right, everybody, so here are 2 beginner-friendly necklace tutorials using this month's bargain bead box. And again, I was running out of beads, so I'll show you what I have left. We still have some to play with. And this is after making 4 pair of earrings, 3 bracelets, and 2 necklaces. So I might be retiring her for now because we are all about to get our next month's bargain bead box. But let me know down below which necklace was your favorite, either the long number 1 here with the gemstone pendant, or the shorter number 2 with our little dangle added to our metal component. Again, don't be afraid to just make an easy project to start off the weekend, because I feel like when I'm in a creative slump, just the practice of making a piece, even if it's easy, so to speak, really gets me jump-started and in a good mood to tackle larger projects. Always start your weekend off with a win if you can, and I hope that you guys are staying safe and well, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye!